What's up?
You gonna hold up the peace sign like that? Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first episode of the Unbounded Podcast. This has been, as you'll find out in the episode, this has been a long time coming.
Long time.
I am Daniel Ibarra, and this is Sergio the Manriquez.
The Man.
Do you get it? The Manriquez.
Manriquez, yeah.
Manriquez.
It was a username I came up with a long time ago.
Really, the man.
Manriquez. Sergio the Man.
I made a dumb joke, but
whatever.
it just instantly got worse.
Anyways, so
We're live from the hood. You can hear the
ice cream truck.
Can you hear the ice cream truck?
I can hear it.
Hold on. All right, stop. Hey, come get some sodas out of. I don't know. Oh no! What you had to do the stepdad dab?
Stepdad dab.
So
I had to.
This is going to be our first episode. I think we know for sure that this first episode is going to be a two-part series because there's just quite a bit to unpack here. There's quite a bit to unpack. If you've been close to us, we're talking like maybe two people, three people that really know what we've been through on our journey to get here. So that's kind of what the first episode's going to be about. We're just going to really talk about not only about who we are, but how we got here to this point. Yeah, how we got to this point and why we're doing this. And there's just kind of want to start off with why it's called the Unbounded Podcast. Unbounded, I think. So we're unbounded, and I'll just kind of speak to it because I kind of came up with because originally
that's his name.
So originally, because we're starting, like what would you call it? Like a media company, a media firm, a multimedia type thing.
Yeah. God, the word escapes me. But yes, so like a media company, something underneath. Something to incorporate a lot of different things that we want to do.
And it kind of comes back to. So I guess what we'll do is I'll explain the name, where we got it, and then we'll just kind of transition right into why we're doing this because there's a lot of reasons, there's a lot of explanations, and just to kind of I don't think we're famous enough to clear the air, but it's more of just to get it off our chest and to really explain. A lot of the struggles that we've been going through on a personal level, like in our own. It's funny because our journeys kind of mirror each other in a sense. Like, I believe up until we met, and then after we met, it's
been quite similar.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Just the similarities, just in a lot of different things. So, Unbounded comes from the idea of the infinity symbol because I just want to be like, infinite, because Unbounded Media was going to be the original name. Now we're going to Hapax Media. But so Unbounded was kind of the idea that I came up with about infinity because you can't contain infinity, and being bound up or being chained up has kind of been kind of like an idea or a metaphor that I used a lot when I was thinking about creativity, because I always used to say, don't keep me in a box. Mentally, I don't want to be kept in a box. And it's kind of like binding you up. Or being chained up and held back is like being bound up. So I figured being unbounded allows you the freedom to do anything. And you can't get more free than the infinity symbol. Like, it's infinite in every which way direction. So that's kind of the approach that I want to go toward this podcast, because this is our way of getting creative. And again, and this is a podcast that we're going to talk about not only things that inspire us, but things going on around us. So, kind of like current events, just in the world.
BS happening in our personal lives.
Yeah, in our personal lives, but also kind of like in the world around us, because I know at least we're big believers in really taking in what's going on around us and translating that in a creative capacity, because it's the way we deal with things.
Yeah.
So for us, I mean, that's kind of like our way of getting creative again. And do you want to speak to that a little bit?
On the getting creative again?
Yeah, why we have to do it again and why we're not creative now.
Well, I mean, we're two really big creatives. We've set up our lives in a fashion like that in the past, but due to personal matters or
just life
circumstances, we had to take a step away from that and handle our business. I guess this is a perfect transition into what happened and why and who we are as people.
Right. Yeah.
So
I'll let Sergio start, and then we'll go.
I'll take the baton on that one. So in 2011, I graduated high school, went to college here at University of Texas at El Paso, so UTEP.
Woo! We're in Texas for people that don't know.
Yes. So I started school there. My entire family is comprised of engineers and scientists and stuff. So I thought that was the field that I was going to go into. So I started school as a mechanical engineer. Personally, didn't see myself doing that. And in high school, I had met some people who helped me through some tough times through dancing. So in college, I sought out dancing and came across the dance department. Wonderful, wonderful people. And they took me in. So I changed my major from mechanical engineering, flipped it 180 degrees completely around, and became a dance major. It was an amazing time. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot about different people and, most importantly, about myself.
Right.
I love the outlet. I love performing. I love the rush of being in front of people doing it.
Facebook Live. Check it out.
Go watch it. So I lost my chain of thought.
Yeah,
anyway, okay. So I learned a lot about myself, and I love the feeling of being.
Yeah, because you did a 180, and I remember
performing. I
remember you telling me you did a complete 180. You were going through engineering. I remember you telling me that, and then you started. You got into dance, or not? Got into. It's always been a thing in your life.
It's always been a thing in my life.
You decided to pursue it
as a career. So I did that. I went a long way. I mean, I didn't start dancing technically at a young age like a lot of people did. I started really late in life. But I put in the work. I put in the sweat. I put in the blood, the tears, the hard times, and I got through it. I had professors of mine tell me that, hey, you know what? This probably isn't a good career choice for you. You should probably
that's like the worst
go
feeling
somewhere
in the
else.
World. Yeah, that's like the worst feeling ever. People you look up to telling you, you can't do it.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was told 3 times. But I'm not gonna lie, it was devastating. But I was so set on what I wanted to do that I decided to do it anyway. I decided, you know what, a lot of people have been telling me this my whole life and a lot of different things. I'm gonna prove you wrong. And I did. I graduated in 2016. And after that, I started...
I never congratulated you. Congrats, bro.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. It was a hard road. It was hard times, but, I mean, I made it through, and it was good. I was very proud of what I did and how far I came. So I started auditioning for different dance companies, started auditioning for different jobs and stuff like that. And that's kind of where everything...
started
became undone for me. I didn't get a job. I didn't find a position in dancing professionally anywhere, not even training. So about a year after that, I kind of took a step away from it. I really didn't have anywhere else to go. I had to focus more on work to start paying my bills. And then fell into acting. Acting kind of just fell in my lap.
Really? Mm-hmm. I always thought that like it was a primary goal for you. And just because like when I met you, a lot of our conversations were, I'm gonna hit acting. I'm gonna hit it super hard. And then because we met through Somerset.
Yeah, through Somerset. Somerset Position.
You had the worst logo ever when I met you. I'm just being honest. I asked him, I was like, how'd you make this logo? He's like, I just made some shapes and I made it our logo. And I was like, dude, why?
No, it was good. So yeah, acting fell.
If I'm looking off camera, it's because I'm shouting out to people on Facebook Live. What's up, Facebook? We're recording our first episode for our podcast, which is this right here. So if you watch this, you'll see me shouting out that video, and it'll look kind of cool. But check it out.
So yeah, acting fell into my lap. I was looking. I had taken some time off
from dance,
just kind of to regather my mind a little bit. And I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and just keep practicing it. I want to find a studio or something to keep practicing it. And as I was going around, I had a friend who was working for Bazaar Models. And he said, you know what? You're looking for some work. Let's get you some exposure. Let's take some pictures.
Wait, Bazaar Models, isn't that place that... Because I know Josh worked with a bunch of models.
Yeah, Josh used to work there. I met Josh there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I met him through a mutual friend of ours, Julian.
Okay.
And Julian used to work there, and he told me, you know what, come through. And I said, all right, cool.
Keep going. I'm going to shout out everybody online. What up, Bilo? Right. What up, Miss Arim? What's up? What's up, Miss
So I went to Bazaar, and I saw that they had not just modeling classes, but acting classes, and they were looking to open a dance studio as well.
Oh, so it all kind of just came together.
It all just kind of fell. Yeah, it fell into my lap. And I decided to take a month of classes, but I was drawn more towards the acting one. They gave me exercises to do it. I did the assignment, and not only did I blow myself away, but I also blew other people's mind in the room as well. And
dang, got them blow their mind away. Acting skills.
So
he's a good actor.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm working on my craft. I'm working on it. I'm not the best out there, but I really want it. I really want to do this.
So before you get to the segue, because you're building up to the segue of that decision, I think I'll kind of interject here. Because I know, just to kind of fast forward a little bit, after that whole acting thing, he started with Somerset, and then we did projects like Neon, the yet unreleased Neon Noir, and then a couple other little commercials here and there, and then I think we met just before Ghost Train started.
Yeah, just before production for Ghost Train started, we met. And
then we clicked. We were just like, "Hey, what's up, ugly ass?"
We were cool.
What's up, ugly?
We were all right with each other. But what really led us to this point, I'll let you guys know
you got that
after he's done with
that
it.
Obama hand gesture. What really led us to that point?
Yeah. I'm gonna pause there. I'm gonna let him continue to the story to where we met, and then from there it leads into where we are now.
So, similar story to Sergio. And like it goes back to the whole reason why we're doing this is that we want to get creative again to start stimulate those ideas, those creative juices, because creativity works a lot like a muscle. If it goes undeveloped, then it just kind of like dies off a little bit and
goes away.
And you know, right now our creativities are kind of have a dad bod kind of going on.
Yeah,
they're very unfit.
We need to get that six pack back.
So what it is, it's you know we're doing this kind of as a platform to get back to that creativity level. So essentially what happened was, me personally, my creativity kind of fell off when, I kind of let life get in the way. I was going to UTEP full time. I was working full time. I was doing stuff at the church full time. Shout out to the Rock Face Center, the best church on earth. I was doing that. I was in the middle of all that, and I was working, grinding, doing that, and I was hitting life super hard. At the time, some things happened in my family. My parents ended up getting divorced, which hit me pretty hard. But that's not really where it hit. Where my creativity started to fall off was, fast forward all that, I was working full time for the Rock Faith Center, and I was, going hard, grinding. I was a media director. I was designing all the campaigns. I was doing all that stuff, and I was hitting it hard every day. What ended up happening is, I fell off, and I never got to formally apologize, not only to the Rock Face Center fam, but also to, leadership and all that. I fell off, and I take 100% blame of that. I fell off. The grind just got too much for me. I wasn't where I needed to be at. I wasn't, when it came to terms of me, being focused. I let a lot of things get in the way at the time. I was actually living in Juarez.
Yeah.
I think when we met, you remember before I moved to Juarez. I was living in Juarez. I was living with my mom. And at the time, my mom was battling with her health. I was battling with my health. And it just became too much. I mean, I'm very transparent about it. I was waking up at like 3 in the morning to get across the bridge, work a full 8-hour day, come back across, go to sleep at like 10 just to get back up and do that whole thing. And it was just, the grind became too real. The grind became 3D in the sense that it was just so much. It was so difficult. And my health started to deteriorate. My health started to fall off. And, you know, it was this whole thing of just like, I was literally waking up every morning praying to God to give me enough strength to make it across the bridge to make it through the day. That's a terrible place to be at because, you know, my health was falling off and I wasn't focusing on that. And so my health started to decline. And nothing against the church. It was just one of those things that I wasn't taking care of me and I wasn't fulfilling the agreements placed upon me to kind of continue that. And, you know, I had left the church. I eventually got termed from the church, which is probably not the greatest thing to happen to me, but it was a wake-up call. You know, not only to the testament of how a great ministry can be ran, because when you're operating that level, it's super intense. Shout out to Pastor Eric, an amazing pastor and the leadership team. I know how hard y'all grind because it's at that point, people's lives and people's souls are depending on you, and that's how serious you have to take it. And it's just one of those things. I'm gonna pull this camera up because it's slowly dipping.
Okay,
but
I'm
it's
glad
just,
I'm not the only one that saw that.
But it's just one of those things.
I need to...
Fast forward after that, I saved up enough money to move me and my mom back over from Juarez. That's the whole thing. Like, people on the bridge, if you live in the United States and if you work in the United States and you live in Juarez, I understand the grind. Doing that for 2 years straight, almost, you know, it was ridiculous.
That's hard.
Fast forward a little bit of time. I was living way out past Montana Hills. If you're in Texas, I was like in the middle of the desert, living with my grandma. She has some land out there. We were living out there, and I was just grinding. I looked for a different job. I ended up at Hyundai of El Paso selling cars, and it was good. It was probably one of the coolest jobs that I've ever had, other than being a media director. You know, it was cool. It paid the bills. It was shout out to my sales people. Man, the grind is real. And so I was still trying to pursue creativity, doing stuff here and there. And you know, it got to that point. And Sergio had fallen on some hardships at the time, and this was already after, you know, we had built a great friendship, which we'll talk about in some later episodes. We built a great friendship. We ended up going to Vegas together. We did some, you know, we grew a strong friendship and a great friendship. And so he fell in some hard times. He needed money. He needed to make some things financially happen. And I told him, yo, come to Hyundai of El Paso. I'm here trying to make some stuff happen because, you know, we all need money. I mean, that's just what it is. We all need money. We all need to make some stuff happen. And I told him, yo, it may not be the greatest opportunity, but it's an opportunity. I was showing him some of the money that I was making. I'm like, look, I grinded hard for 2 weeks and I brought in $1,200. I brought in $1,300. I think my biggest check was almost 2 G's. And I'm like, look, it's a hard job. It's not easy, but the money's there. And this kind of brings, you know, to blend our stories together. You know, even after I had dropped out from UTEP and I had dropped out from, because I dropped out of UTEP, I dropped out of Western Tech, I dropped out of, I never finished my academic career after deciding to do that. And it all kind of culminated to this point where it's like, I'm like, look, creatively I was dead. And I feel that. I hold that as one of my greatest things because if anybody's ever met me, I'm a crazy, colorful, off-the-wall person. And to kind of let that die, it kind of, you know, is like letting a major part of me die. And I think Sergio feels that on the same level. You know, we were both at Hyundai selling cars, and it just, the grind is super hard. And we got to the point where we're like, look, you know, our heart wasn't in it anymore. I had some family things going on. I had some health things going on. And Sergio was kind of in the same place. I mean, I remember vividly one day getting home and I had like, or I wasn't even at home. I remember calling you. Do you remember that day? I was at Hyundai and I just took a car and I went to our truck center and
You went to the truck lot.
I was there for like what, about 45 minutes, something like that. And he calls me, he's like,
hour,
yo,
yeah.
or no, you messaged me like, yo, are you good? And I told him, no, dude, I'm in the truck center having probably one of the most horrific anxiety attacks that I've ever had in my life. I've had maybe about 5 major anxiety attacks. That was probably one of the worst ones. Like, if anybody's ever had anxiety attacks, I wouldn't wish them like serious, true, honest, major anxiety attacks. I wouldn't wish them
On anybody.
On anybody. And so I was at that point. I was just like, life is getting to me. My relationship with God isn't where it needed to be at, and I'm just like, I'm losing it. Like I was losing it. And he's like, yo, bro, I feel you. It's rough. It's just one of those things. We kind of got to that point where we just needed to make a major change. And I was at that point where I was just like, I need to make something happen. And I was just kind of grinding, getting through it because, at the end of the day, if you don't work, you don't eat. And I was like, look, I'm a big dude. I need to eat. I can't survive off of ramen noodles and chicken sandwiches because that's what it was at.
And that's what it was at, honestly.
And it's kind of like, to quote IDK, I think I showed you the song Trigger Happy. He said, you're taking food out my fridge. I ain't got to chill. So up until this point, I think we can both safely say that I don't apologize for anything that I've ever done to try to move forward. I know a lot of people have been upset. I've gotten phone calls, messages, just kind of like, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Just kind of different things like that. But like IDK said, you're taking food out of my fridge. I ain't got to chill. We're just trying to figure that out. And we both have come to the realization that creativity is part of who we're going to be forever. And it's just going to be one of those things that we just have to, we're willing to sacrifice our lives for it and to get it done because we feel like we got something to say. It keeps us sane. And it just came down to the point where, working at a place like Hyundai was, for me, it's not that it's not easy. It's not an easy job by any means. Shouts out to my salespeople again. It's very difficult, but I think the issues that we were both having there was not necessarily because we had a problem with anybody there. Sure, we had 1 or 2 people that we would clash with and whatever, but at the end of the day,
you got that anywhere you go to work with.
Anywhere you go.
Anywhere you go.
And we're 2 groovy homies. We'll get along with anybody. Yeah. I'm like, I once sold somebody that was an amputee, like they had a fake leg. I sold him a car. I'm like, bro, you don't even have 2 whole legs. How am I going to sell you a car? But it's I sold him a car anyway. That's like a whole other thing. We'll get into those crazy stories later on. But it was one of those things that we both had made the decision to leave Hyundai at the same time. I had ended up in the hospital for about a week and a half. I had it could have been life-threatening, but luckily enough, I made that decision to go. I didn't tell a lot of people about it because I felt like it wasn't necessary to tell anybody at the time because I wasn't in a space where I needed anybody's help. And that, for me, was one of the deciding factors where if I didn't have faith enough in myself to ask people for help, then something is horrifically wrong. It was like terribly wrong. And, Sergio was kind of in the same place where, we were trying to have each other's backs, but we felt so isolated and so, like far away and disconnected from everybody. It was it was ridiculous. And we're like, look, we need to make something happen.
I mean, I was at the point where I was going home on my time off and everything. I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't present. I wasn't me.
Yeah, I feel that for real, 100%.
Like, I love my girlfriend to death. I love her so much. But I was going home and I wasn't enjoying my time at home with her. I'm like,
yeah,
there's something wrong here. That's not right. You know what I mean?
And I feel that because, like, I was going through health issues. My mom was going through some health issues just because we were so worn out from crossing the border every day to grind for a paycheck that was like it was to the point where the only place that we could afford to live was across the border, where we could live comfortably and have, those resources that we wanted, those resources that we needed. And for anybody who's ever lived that struggle, I hear you 100%. It's not easy.
No.
And it was to the point where, we just had to make a decision to come back. And that's what we did. And we're here now. And, my mom's happy. I'm happy. I made that transition. I'm working at Alorica. What's up? COG, like, no one cares, but that's where I'm at. And it's like, I'm a lot happier now, and I don't have to apologize for that because I had put up a video maybe a couple days ago. It was the last video that I made. Yeah. There was the last video I made of 2019, and it was
very inspirational.
And it wasn't meant to be inspirational.
I appreciate it.
And it's funny because I made it. It wasn't meant to be inspirational. It was just that thing of like, I'm the happiest I've ever been now. If you can't see it on camera, but your boy getting thin. Same. I mean, I'm dropping the weight a little bit, and I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I'm the happiest I've ever been. I'm the most stable mentally and like it's spiritually I'm getting there. I have to have a lot of serious talks with God, me personally, in my prayer closet type deal. It's a lot of things. It's this for us. This podcast I think to sum it up, this podcast we're starting it because we want to document our journey back, not to our old me's, like to an old version of ourselves, but
never do you want to go back. Well, this is just my philosophy on it. It's just my take on it. But
he's gonna get really Luke Cage, where he's gonna say always forward.
always forward. No matter what happens, you never. I don't believe in going back to who you used to be or where you were with. Whether it comes with you, with another person, or somebody else, you never want to go back to the same or to the old you. The experiences and everything that you went through that you're done with, that you want to go back, are going to lead you to a new life. I'm going to
cut everybody off from the live feed. You guys, did you just hi baby on our friend? Well, I guess I didn't know what to expect. Yo, what up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us on Facebook Live. You guys are going to have to check out the rest of this episode later on, so definitely check it out. It's going to go up on YouTube exclusively for now until we start building this thing up, and we'll be on all of the outlets.
All of them.
So I'm ending Facebook Live, but this episode ain't finished.
So to just sum up what I was saying is the experiences that you just went through are going to lead to a new mindset, a new you, and a new outlook on everything that you do. You're never going to go back to the same old you, and that's a good thing.
And I think that's what we're doing. We want to do this this podcast because it's going to essentially document our journey, and just to kind of remind ourselves where we can have that kind of creative therapist session, if you will, to kind of get back to better versions of what we used to be, and kind of like the creatives that we wish we could become. Because that's the thing. One thing that I was really frustrated with, and one thing that kind of really, really, really weighed on me and kind of kept coming back to my mind in my private moments and my moments where I was just, laying in bed dreading going to work the next day, was I always remembered how many people told me I had potential.
Same.
And they're like, you have so much potential. You could do this, you could do that. And that for me is, I never wore it as a badge of honor, but more of as an embarrassing scar. And I think that's probably the first time I've ever admitted that I used to hate when people would tell me, you have so much potential, you should do something with it. And for anybody who knows or who's ever experienced that, especially if you don't know what you want to do or where you're going to go, it's like, you have so much potential. And it's like, okay, what do I do with it? If you see that in me, how do I make it better? And no one's ever going to tell you that. You have to figure it out on your own.
You have to put in the work to figure
And
it out.
this is in a sense a way for us to kind of get back to that. You know, there's a lot of things, especially, you know, it's kind of crazy to see 2020. You know, 2020, I think for me personally and for Sergio is going to be a major year for us. Like I said in that video that I made, it's going to be a moment. It's going to be a year that's going to define, you know, what I do at least, and what we do creatively. And we're kind of using this podcast as a catalyst of sorts to start some, you know, great things. Is there anything you want to add to that?
No. Well, I mean, just piggybacking off of the 2020 thing. You know, last night me and my girlfriend we made a vision board for our 2020 at home.
Hey, I saw that. Had uploaded I think she put
a
it on her
little
story.
boomerang. Yeah.
The boomerang on her story. It's pretty cool.
So this is the second year that we do this together. The first year we kind of got through everything, but I think me personally, I mean, she scratched off a lot of more things on her vision board than I did. I was shooting for the end goals.
It's kind of like you got through it and didn't really accomplish anything.
Yeah.
It's
so
like
what I'm going for
just
more now is steps to get to where I want.
Yeah.
And I think that if you, even the design on my board has a little road on it. I made a little road, and it's more important the road that you take to get there, because you have to put in the work. You have to put in the drive to get to your end goal, and that's the only way you're going to get there.
Yeah.
And this year is going to prove important in that valuable. It's going to prove the most important to get there, because I've made the choices I've made.
Yeah.
And I am where I am now, mindset-wise, that I'm ready and I can see clearly where it is that I want to be.
Yeah. And I think that's essentially where we're at. We're just kind of done with. I know, at least speaking for myself, I'm done with letting a lot of that potential die and letting a lot of things creatively die, because it's like I understand that life is short, and I've wasted too much time personally not doing anything with that creativity. I understand that things that I create, like for example this episode, is going to have more time on this earth than I ever will, which is great, because it's like I can to have
Whether
that
it's
availability
seen
to
or
create,
not.
right? Whether it's seen or not, it's there for not only myself to reference when I'm older, because I'm gonna be an old dude looking. I'm like, man, look at this food, look at that nasty beard, bro. Dude, I need to like cut this down. But you know, it's gonna be one of those things that, you know, it's gonna be great, not only for me but for my family, those people that do care about me, for eventual fans, for eventual followers. And I hope that positivity, you know, and it's one of those things like you can actually go through my profile and go all the way back to that first live stream that we did going to Vegas.
Going to
and
Vegas.
It was kind of like the overall theme was just, you know, we're naturally just such positive people that, you know, we always want to put a message of positivity, even as hard as life will get. Because bro, I remember when, do you remember that day at Hyundai where we only had like, I think like $4, and we bought 2 burritos and Polar Pops, and we were just sitting in the break room like,
and it was the only thing we ate all day.
It was the only thing we ate all day, and we had like a 12-hour shift, and I think you sold the car.
13-hour shift.
Yeah, it was 13.
We were there from 8. No, 14. We were there. It was a bell to bell. It was from 8 to 9:30.
We were there all day, and we were grinding. And I think I sold the car and you sold the car, I believe. Mm-hmm. But we were just like, you know, it was great that we sold the car, but it was just like we were so done we were so burnt out, we were so just dead, and we're like, dude, we need to make a decision. And I think that's the time where we made that decision to like, look, we need to start thinking about an end game because we need to get back to who we are.
And it's nice. It's nice to have money coming in, and it was good to grind for big money.
Yeah.
But you told me something that it stuck out with me forever, for a long time now. Steady money is more important. Steady money is better than big money. Yeah. And honestly, I value my time over anything else.
Yeah, I remember telling you that.
If I'm not feeding my soul and fulfilling that part of me, then there's no point.
So I want to cut it right there because we're going to finish this in episode 2. We've covered mainly what this podcast is and why we're doing it, at least personally. But definitely check out the second episode. It's going to continue what we started with this one. Definitely check it out. We're going to have fun with it. And then, definitely send us your feedback. Comment, subscribe, follow, do all that stuff. So when we put stuff up, if you like what you're hearing, let us know. If you hate it, tell us why you hate it. Don't just hate on it to hate it. Especially if you hate it, share it. Show somebody how much you hate it. So that way we can rack up them views. So definitely share it. Like, subscribe. Let us know. The only way we get better at this is if you tell us things that you want to hear.
We take criticism very well.
Yeah, mainly we'll make fun of you and roast you about it, and then we'll kind of listen to it.
And then we'll be like, oh, yeah, they have a point. No, they got a point.
Man, look at this crooked ass.
Hey!
The snail tooth.
Okay. And we're done.
And yeah, check out the second one.